So this woman, let's call her Hermione. And one day, Hermione meets this guy Nico, and she thinks Nico is so fine. And they go out a few times, and he's nice, and he says all the right things. And after a few dates, she's really feeling him, and they hook up. Yeah! And then the next day, she texts him, and she gets no response. The day after, she hits him up again, no response. And weeks go by, and she doesn't hear anything from him. Nico has completely ghosted her. Aww. And so Hermione is pissed, and she's hurt, and so she looks for comfort online. And she ends up finding this Facebook group, Are We Dating the Same Guy? This is a group where a bunch of women get together, and they talk shit about the cheaters and liars they've dated. And it is huge. It has over 80,000 members in the Chicago area alone. So Hermione joins this group, and she starts posting about her experience with Nico. How they had met a few times, and he's a sweet talker, and how she had hooked up with him, and that he ghosted her. And women in the group start replying to her posts like, "Oh girl, I'm sorry to hear that. You deserve better." But then a woman replies and says, "Hey, I matched with that guy too. He got clingy, and I ended up blocking his number." And then suddenly, other women are jumping into the conversation, just dogpiling on Nico, saying he's a red flag, posting his photo, posting screenshots of text messages he supposedly sent. One woman says he called her names because she didn't want to sleep with him, all kinds of stuff. And they're just dragging him through the mud, warning other women not to date him. And at some point, someone in the Facebook group who knows Nico sees all this, I assume, because they send it all to him. And Nico gets mad, of course, because all these women are ripping him apart. And he doesn't know what to do, so he goes and gets a lawyer. And him and his lawyers come up with this crazy plan. They file a lawsuit against not only the couple of women he dated in the group, but against other women in the group who had also participated in the conversation and the group's moderators. So like anyone on the page who bashed him is getting sued. He's suing for defamation, for doxing him, like all kinds of stuff. Not only that, Nico is also suing Facebook for allowing this to go on, and GoFundMe, because I guess the group used GoFundMe at some point to raise money for something completely unrelated. So this story breaks, and it goes viral, like it's everywhere, because it's so absurd. And suddenly, the law firm that Nico hired starts getting calls from hundreds of other men, all claiming that the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group dragged them through the mud too. So now that law firm is trying to make this into a class action lawsuit. But then, in a weird twist, a few days later, after Nico files his lawsuit, he's found guilty of tax fraud. Like major tax fraud. And he hasn't been sentenced yet, but he might be going to jail soon. I don't know. So what happened to Hermione after all this? Well, nothing. Hermione doesn't actually exist. I made her up to lead you into the story. But the rest of it's true. This Facebook group was talking trash about Nico. He's suing all of them and Facebook. And he just suddenly got convicted of tax fraud. All that's true. And all this happened in Chicago, Illinois. So shout out to Illinois.